Father, is it over?
At long last. No king rules forever, my son.
I see. Only darkness before me.
There must always be a Lich King.
God damn! You guys' support on the last video has been absolutely insane and I truly appreciate it. So, the reworked Frost Tank is finally here. So what exactly has changed for the Frost Tank? Ascension decided that the Cold Blood IE should change, so it no longer works as it used to. So that's why Cold Blood is no longer needed for the build. Seal of Wisdom is now mandatory in the build, because with the changes, you need more mana. Hemo has replaced Sinister Strike in the build for better combo point generation. I replaced the IEs that I used before, and I changed some of the talents. And don't worry, I will explain everything later on, so it will all make sense. And guess what? With all these changes, the build feels way more fluent now. And guess what? It actually performs even better now. More damage, it's more tanky, and it feels really good to play. So, as promised, I will be showing it all to you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. So, when it comes to talents, what I like to do in my builds is leave a few talent points open, so you guys can place them in whatever you need for your build. For example, some people may not have Arcane Power, or some people may not have Blessing of Sanctuary, and so on. So it's easier just to have a few points open, and that way you can put them in whatever you need. For example, maybe you don't have the gear to be expertise capped, then you can put the spare points into the expertise, or if you need hit rating, you can put them into some hit rating. Just so in case you're wondering like, what should I do with these points, I don't know what to put them and so on. That's why I have a few points open. The talent setups that I'll be showing later on, that's more like a template you should follow. You should never copy paste a build directly, because no character is the same. So use them as a template, and that way you will get the best result for your character. And now to talents. And the talents has reworked a bit. As it turns out, the Cone of Cold damage doesn't really scale too well with spell power. The difference between 200-ish spell power and 13 to 1400 spell power is around 1500 damage increase on crits. So investing 5 talent points for that simply ain't worth it. So I removed 5 talent points from Mental Quickness, and I took the 3 talent points from Honor Among Thieves and put them into Sinister Calling, because you simply get way more value. 3% agility is a minor boost to attack power, but the capstone makes Hemo generate 2 combo points if there is a bleed on the target. So that's why I put 1 point into deep wounds, and this makes you get 4 combo points with 2 Hemos, and with setup you get a combo point whenever you dodge or parry with only 1 second cooldown. So with this change you can get 4 to 5 combo points on every Cone of Cold you do. So that's a big improvement. That's a major change to the talents, which has improved the build a lot. And here is 3 talent setups that you can use depending on what you prefer. The damage version of the build you should only really use if you're overgeared for the content that you're doing, or you probably risk getting slapped. Personally, I use the mixed version the most, so that's why I'll be uploading that to both Alar and Area 52 on the Hero Architect, so you can see that version in the game. And if you like it, give it a little like, so I can see if people use it or not. So for random enchants, and this is where it gets spicy. For some reason the buff from the Cold Blood IE has changed to only work with direct spells, so it no longer works with Cone of Cold, and that's actually the main reason I looked into reworking the build. So since I needed to make up for the damage I lost, I replaced the Cold Blood IE with Prepare for Shatter, which is a flat 10% damage increase on all your frost damage. And since no longer use Sinister Strike, the Tides of Battle IE doesn't work for the build, so I needed another IE for my energy sustain. And luckily, there's a random enchant like Infused Energy. Your direct damage spells empower your next rogue or druid direct damaging ability with an energy cost, increasing its damage by 15% and reducing its energy cost by 15. This effect stacks up to 3 times. And that IE apparently works with Cone of Cold. And rule number 1 on Ascension: don't question Ascension logic. So that IE replaces Tides of Battle that I used before. And since I no longer spec into the spell power conversion, the IE that I used before doesn't really benefit the build at all. So I also replaced that with Hasty Cone of Cold, since the new build generates combo points way faster. You obviously need a way to dump those combo points faster. And with the talents and that IE puts Cone of Cold down to a 2.35 second cooldown, which is not a lot. So you can have some big boy Cone of Colds quite often. And that's also the reason why Seal of Wisdom is needed in the build now. Because obviously more Cone of Colds require more mana. And that's all the changes I made to the build. So many people have requested to include what starter abilities to pick up. So here it is. I recommend picking up Righteous Fury, Sinister Strike. Even though it's gonna be replaced by Hemo, I recommend picking up Sinister Strike so you can pick up Slice and Dice, because Slice and Dice cannot be carded, and out of 4 attempts of high rolling for this build, I didn't see Slice and Dice. So it can be a massive pain trying to high roll it. So that's why I recommend Sinister Strike and Slice and Dice. And for your 4th ability, it's more up to personal preference really. You can start with Charge, that's what I like to do, because it's the best mobility in the game. But if you like, you can also start with Aspect of the Monkey, because it's a really good tank buff. You can also start with Evasion, if you prefer that. However, I don't recommend Evasion in the current state, because there's so many mobs that stuns you. And if you get stunned while your Evasion is up, it gets removed. So that's why I don't recommend it. For cards, I've also changed things a little bit because of the changes made to the build. I now card Ghostly Strike, Cone of Cold, Seal of Wisdom, because you need more mana sustain because of the Cone of Cold cooldown reduction that's been added to the build. And Seal of Wisdom will almost give you enough mana sustain that you need for the build. The 4th card, I take Mock and Blow, because it's like a shield wall for 2-hand tanks. For lucky cards, I take Arcane Power, since it's a massive damage cooldown. I lucky card Combat Readiness, since it's one of the best defensives in the game. Rockbiter Weapon, it's a really big overall damage increase. I lucky card Judgment of Justice, and the reason I card that is because it's the only judgment you can card, but it doesn't have to be Judgment of Justice, like any of the judgments will do. It's just so you have a bigger chance of getting a judgment. I also card Blessing of Sanctuary, and with that, combined with Seal of Wisdom, is enough mana sustain for the build. It does save you 2 talent points that you would have to put into mana regen on Judgment if you manage to get it. Then I card Aspect of the Beast, and obviously don't card Aspect of the Beast if you started with Aspect of the Monkey. If you did that, then consider carding Hemo or Repost or something, since it's needed for the build. Give the build a try and let me know what you think, and I hope I see you in the next one.
Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Soon may the Wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go.